HTTP interview questions and answers. Beginner means advanced. Introduction. HTTP is the foundational protocol used for communication on the web. HTTP is widely used for web applications, REST APIs, browser-server communication, microservices, cloud systems, mobile applications. HTTP enables client-server communication, resource transfer, API interactions, stateless communication, web browsing. 1 to 20. HTTP basics. What is HTTP? Protocol used for transferring web resources between client and server. What does HTTP stand for? Hypertext Transfer Protocol. What is client in HTTP? System making requests, browser, mobile app. What is server in HTTP? System responding to requests. What is request in HTTP? Message sent by client to server. What is response in HTTP? Message returned by server. What is URL? Address identifying web resource. URL example, https://@example.com/users. What is URI? Identifier for resources. What is HTTPS? Secure encrypted version of HTTP. What is SSL/TLS? Encryption protocol securing HTTP traffic. Why use HTTPS? Encryption, security, integrity. What is stateless protocol? Server does not remember previous requests automatically. HTTP 1.1, HTTP 2, HTTP 3. What is HTTP 1.1? Widely adopted HTTP version with persistent connections. What is HTTP 2? Improved protocol with multiplexing and performance optimizations. What is HTTP 3? HTTP running over quick protocol. What is web resource? File data accessible over web. Common web resources? HTML, JSON, images, videos. What is MIME type? Content type identifier. 21 to 40. HTTP methods and status codes. What is HTTP method? Operation type requested by client. Common HTTP methods? Get, post, put, delete. What is GET request? Retrieves data from server. GET example. Get/users. HTTP 1.1. What is POST request? Sends data to server. POST example. POST/users HTTP 1.1. What is PUT request? Replaces existing resource. What is PATCH request? Partially updates resource. What is delete request? Removes resource. What is idempotent method? Multiple identical requests produce same result. Which methods are idempotent? Get, put, delete. What is safe HTTP method? Method not modifying server state. Which methods are safe? Get, head, options. What is HTTP status code? Numeric response indicating request result. What is 200 OK? Successful request. What is 201 created? Resource successfully created. What is 400 bad request? Invalid client request. What is 401 unauthorized? Authentication required. What is 403 forbidden? Access denied. What is 404 not found? Requested resource missing. 41 to 70. Headers, cookies, and REST APIs. What is 500 internal server error? Generic server-side failure. What is 503 service unavailable? Server temporarily unavailable. Metadata attached to request response. Common request headers, authorization, content type, accept. Authorization header example. Authorization bearer token. What is content type header? Specifies body data format. JSON content type example. Content type application HTML. What is accept header? Defines acceptable response formats. What is user agent header? Identifies client software. What is host header? Specifies target domain server. What is HTTP body? Main request response data payload. What is JSON and APIs? Common lightweight data exchange format. JSON example. Name, John. What is REST API? HTTP-based resource-oriented API architecture. REST principles? Check. Stateless, resource-based, uniform interface. What is endpoint? API URL path. Endpoint example. /API users. What is query parameter? URL-based filtering input parameter. Query parameter example, page equals 1. What is path variable? Dynamic URL segment. Path variable example, /users10. Browser stored small data. What is session cookie? Cookie storing session identifier. What is HTTP-only cookie? Cookie inaccessible to JavaScript. What is secure cookie? Cookie sent only via HTTPS. What is same-site cookie? Restricts cross-site cookie usage. What is CORS? Cross-origin resource sharing policy. Why does CORS exist? OX. Browser security. Prevent unauthorized cross-origin requests. What is pre-flight request? Browser options request before actual request. What is options method? Retrieves communication options. 71 to 100. Advanced HTTP concepts. What is caching in HTTP? Storing responses for reuse. Why use caching? Performance, reduced bandwidth, faster responses. Cache control, max age equals 3600. What is ETAG? Resource version identifier. What is conditional request? Request based on cached version validation. What is keep alive connection? Reusing TCP connection for multiple requests. What is chunked transfer encoding? Streaming response data in chunks. What is compression in HTTP? gzip, broadly. What is gzip compression? Compressing HTTP payloads. What is proxy server? Intermediate server forwarding requests. What is reverse proxy? Server handling requests before backend. Common reverse proxies. Nginx, Apache HTTP server, distributes requests across servers. What is CDN? Content Delivery Network. What is rate limiting? Restricting request frequency. What is timeout in HTTP? Maximum wait duration for response. What is long polling? Keeping request open, awaiting updates. What is WebSocket? Persistent bidirectional communication protocol. HTTP versus WebSocket. HTTP request response. WebSocket full duplex persistent connection. What is authentication in HTTP? Basic auth, bearer token, OAuth 2. What is basic authentication? Authorization, basic base 64. What is bearer token authentication? Token-based authorization mechanism. Authorization framework for APIs. Common HTTP interview topics, methods, status codes, REST APIs, headers, caching. Common HTTP problems, CORS errors, timeout issues, caching bugs. Best practices for HTTP APIs. Carper status codes. Secure HTTPS. RESTful design. What is API versioning? Managing API evolution safely. Biggest HTTP interview concept? Stateless client-server communication. Key HTTP interview focus. Methods, status codes, headers, REST APIs, caching, and security. Why is HTTP fundamental? HTTP powers modern web applications, APIs, and internet communication systems. Final summary. HTTP interviews focus on: check, request response lifecycle, HTTP methods, status codes, headers and cookies, REST APIs, HTTPS security, caching and compression, modern web communication. Key idea. Strong developers understand stateless communication, RESTful API design, HTTP security, caching strategies, and efficient web communication protocols.